Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane, and we are here and we are just about to do a very special Zoom interview with online publisher Mr. John Colascione. Let's take a look at this fascinating interview. Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane, and I have a very, very special guest. I'm very excited about my guest today, Mr. John Colascione. He is my former boss. He is the owner of the original Long Island Exchange.com, the longisland.com, and now the published reporter. Welcome to Cognac's Corner. Do you like my pink kitchen behind me, darling?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's all you. Always pink.
Yeah.
Everything's pink.
Yes, darling. Yes, and I'm so happy that you're here to talk to me. And I have some information I want my audience to know about before we get into the questions. John Colascione is a publisher of technology blog, strategicrevenue.com, syndicated worldwide through Google News and domaining.com, a well-respected online-only new aggregator proving expert views about the domain industry. He also is the publisher of publishreporter.com, specializing in website monetization, authored Mastering Your Website. Now, you didn't always start out as an online publisher.
No.
You did other things before you were an online publisher, including driving a truck. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I did every job that you could possibly hate. And yeah, I drove trucks.
You're like an actor does things like that because they got to support themselves because they want to be, an actor, a movie star. So they do all these odd jobs just to eat.
When I got to the truck driving, though, I actually liked it because it would give me, a little bit of freedom. I go out on my route. I do it the way I wanted to do it. If I was somewhere I had to stop during the day, I would do the route around that. And it wasn't that bad by the time I got up to the commercial truck driving.
Okay, so now tell my audience, what inspired you to become an online publisher? What was it about it that you say, this is for me. I want to be an online publisher. I want to have my own online magazine. I want to work on the internet. Tell my audience the reason.
Well, I didn't really know about online publishing. I didn't come from a computer background, but I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to own my own business. At this time, it was around 2000, 1999, somewhere around there. And the internet was starting to become, a tiny bit more mainstream. Not like it is today. But people were starting to see the internet. So I thought that was a great career potential because you could kind of do it anywhere and, freedom to work remotely and things like that. So that interested me. And I started to explore computers. I wanted to try and figure out, the internet and computers.
Yeah. You're highly intelligent. I've always thought you were. I could never figure out how you understood grammar because you were so bad at school. You always used to cause trouble in the classroom.
Yeah.
But you are.
My attendance was the worst.
Yeah, but you're intelligent. You're very intelligent. Now, my next question is, your very first publication, your very first on publication was longislandexchange.com. Tell us the story of how you came up with that name.
Well, I had known about a website that was called the 80exchange.com, and it was all a website for people that were interested in the 80s. So, I was looking around at domain names, and I happened to find the name longislandexchange.com had come up for availability, and that had an interesting ring to it. Not only was I a Long Islander, but there was a club a long time ago, maybe in the late 70s, early 80s, called the Long Island Exchange. So it already had like a name. place in the market. You know what I mean? So
and it was Long Island too.
it was
So
Long
that
Island.
was,
It was around.
yeah.
So I thought, maybe it would be a good thing to have a Long Island exchange, and then people that lived on Long Island could go there and find out information and talk and stuff like that. So I started making the website, and I had a little forum area where people could talk about things, and I started building a directory, and then eventually I had run into a website called longisland.com, which was very well known at the time, and it was called Long Island's most popular website, and it was a pretty much thriving online business back then. So I wanted to try and mimic that business as much as I could, and my mission was to eventually become as good or greater than that website.
And the longisland.com. But
Yeah,
you were sorry, weren't you sorry though, in a way, that you called it the not the Long Island part, but the exchange part? You told me a story once that, people like, what is exchange? What is that all about?
Yeah, the thing was, people did not immediately, a domain name is always best when you know exactly what's going to be there when you go there. So Long Island Exchange was kind of, wasn't clear about what exactly it was. So my number one question is, Long Island Exchange, I've heard of that. What is that? You know what I mean? So, it didn't really explain what it was.
Now, that publication, tell my audience what that featured, longislandexchange.com. What did it feature?
Long Island Exchange was a website where people could go and they could communicate with other Long Islanders in the forum, or they could learn about Long Island. So they could find out about all the cities and the towns, and they could find restaurants. There was classifieds. There was real estate homes for sale, and it was just a directory, like a guide. I remember somebody said, I don't know what this thing is, but I think it's a directory. But if it is a directory, it's the best one I've ever seen, because I spent years building the directory.
It was the best directory. It still is today. I still think that it far surpasses even the longisland.com directory.
Well, unfortunately, it's kind of dead. They don't really use it anymore. The media company that owns it, so it's pretty stagnant. If you go there, it's still got some old information on it. So, but it was a great site at one time. I mean, when we were involved, me and you,
yes,
that was at its. I mean, you were interviewing real celebrities on the red carpet.
Yes.
I mean,
it was also a news website. It was a news information, not just entertainment news, but it was Long Island news and even news in like New York and around the world.
New York City, we would cover issues of importance if something was happening in the world. I mean, we made it real. I mean, it was the heart in the valve that really made it real. Once the heart was removed, it's dead. It just doesn't have that soul anymore. A lot of business that their owners sell. It happens a lot. A big company comes along and buys out the company, and the original owner is gone, and a lot of its core, enthusiasm is missing. It just turns into a revenue generating asset.
Well, that kind of like leads me to the next question, and that is, what makes an online magazine successful? What's the answer? What's the mystery? What should we all know about that? What makes an online magazine special and successful?
Well, first of all, there's two main things. The enthusiasm of the publisher. That's a huge part of it. I mean, if the publisher is involved, enthusiastic about the publication, and living, breathing, and sleeping the publication. Like, in other words, they go out and go to bed at night and they have a dream of something they want to add to the publication tomorrow. I mean, that's the type of enthusiasm you have to have. But then the second thing is people. You have to have good people that care about the publication, that share some of that enthusiasm. If you don't have that, you don't really have anything. There's got to be some heart involved. There's got to be some people that enjoy what they're doing. The employees, the people that are there, they're involved. They're very, very important.
It is very important. The people have to love what they do. The reporters have to love what they do. The writers have to love what they do.
There's not going to be any passion involved. And without any passion, one time someone told me, when you write a story, you have to make somebody either cry, laugh, or get angry. If you can't push an emotion in a reader, then you have a problem. You have an uninteresting story. You know what I mean? You have something that's not moving anyone. You have to move somebody. You know what I mean? Someone has to want to tell somebody about something.
You once told me. You once told me. Yeah, you once told me that it has to strike a chord. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
it has to make it strike an emotion. It has to make somebody feel something. They have to want to tell somebody. How are you going to grow something if nobody wants to share it? You know what I'm saying? You're up against a difficult enough market out there, especially nowadays. How are you going to grow something if someone doesn't want to be a part of it, sign up for your newsletter, sign up as a subscriber on your YouTube? If you can't get anybody interested in what you're doing, that's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Unless the
yeah,
goal is to just interest you.
right.
That's not going to get you anywhere financially.
Now, since you started in media technology, the world has significantly changed. I mean, the technology just keeps changing. By the minute, it changes. It's so ridiculous how fast it changes.
It's really true.
Okay?
That's really true. And I'll tell you why that's true. I mean, a long time ago, when you were searching for something on the internet, you didn't, maybe it wasn't even in Google for like maybe a week or so, something like that. But now someone puts out a tweet and it only takes a couple seconds and then you can find it in Google. So it does change by the minute.
It is changing by the minute as we speak.
Yeah.
It changes so rapidly. And what worked for you is, well, first of all, tell my audience, how long ago when did you start all this online publishing? How many years ago was that?
Well, I started learning about the internet in 1999. I don't think I published my first website until 2001.
So, wow. So it's like 9/11. It's like 20 years ago.
Yeah. I went to a computer
Wow.
school first too for about a year. In that 2-year period, I was figuring out the internet. So
you started like 20 years ago with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago. So a lot has changed in 20 years.
Totally
And
different.
what worked then doesn't necessarily work now anymore.
Sure.
My big question is here, are online magazines, what worked for you 20 years ago doesn't work for you now, but so are online magazines still profitable? And how can they be profitable?
Some of them are profitable. Depends on how good they are. There's a couple of things that changed. A long time ago, it cost a really lot of money to get an online magazine on the internet. Now it's very, very easy because there's a lot of websites that you could build very easily, not like before. But the other problem is that earlier when you started, it was a lot easier to rank the search engine, rank the website in the search engine, the online magazine, and get people to find it and stuff like that. And it was very inexpensive if you were going to advertise. And now it's very difficult and very expensive. So there's a couple of things that got easier and a couple of things got more difficult. As far as the growth and the potential of maximizing advertising dollars and revenue and stuff like that, that's gotten tremendously more difficult. So that's the unfortunate part that has changed.
Is it because everybody's on it? Is that why? Is because the whole world is on it now? Back then, 20 years ago, not as many people were on it.
Yeah, I think that you could dominate your niche easier a long time ago because there wasn't as many people to compete with. But also, as an example, online publications usually make their money by ad networks, and you're familiar with ad networks such as Google Ads and all that stuff. And a long time ago, Google did not have as much technology as it did today, so it was more primitive, and it would pay out publishers more dollars per in exchange for their internet traffic. And nowadays, as they've become more technologically advanced, they have come up with lots of different reasons that they won't pay a publisher for a page impression, based on a variety of reasons, such as they didn't think the traffic was valid, or the user didn't stay on the page long enough, just all kinds of things that they just rule out.
Do you think that they're becoming very greedy? You think it's a greediness?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Google went public about, I don't know what it was, 8-10 years ago. A lot of things changed over there. They have shareholders that they have to, keep happy and things. Everything becomes, some of the soul of Google was lost. I mean, I don't even know how long it'll be until the owners don't even have any shares anymore. I think that they've been selling shares through the years.
Wow, really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they have sold some of their ownership over time.
So Uh, tell us, uh, tell us about the Published Reporter. Tell us about your latest publication. And who are your readers? Tell us about the publication and tell us who likes the Published Reporter.
Okay, well, when I sold the Long Island media operation, by that time it had become Long Island Exchange, longisland.com, and a whole bunch of other Long Island related publications all wrapped into this Long Island media company. And so when I sold that business in, I think it was, it began beginning in like around 2000, the end of 2018. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do next. But I had a lot of experience in the news business, and I really, really had a passion for the news business. I just thought it was an exciting business, you know, with the technology changing, and I always found it interesting to be able to publish a story and then have people reading it halfway around the world in a couple of minutes, and just was like really exciting business. So, and then one of the writers had come to me and they just thought it was insane that I was not going to have any more publications. And they really talked me into it. So I think it was on New Year's
Well,
Eve.
what was the reason for that? Why didn't you want to put any more news stories out there? What was that reason?
Well, when I sold the business, you know, I was, you know, going through a divorce and all that stuff that you were aware of. And there was just so much going on at the time that I really wasn't focused on what exactly I was doing next. I mean, my mom was really sick at the time and I was trying to take care of her. And it was just like a whole bunch of stuff was just crumbling around me. So I just wasn't at that point. I mean, I knew I was going to salvage some of my internet technologies and stuff like that, and I would figure it out later. I mean, I was getting, you know, a bunch of money from selling the business and all that stuff, so I knew I would be okay for a period of time, and I would figure it out later. I mean, I was selling the business, but I wasn't selling my experience and my knowledge. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I knew that I would pick up the pieces, and you know, one of the writers had come to me and, you know, kind of talked me into the fact that it was ridiculous that I wouldn't be in the news business anymore. I knew he was right, but I just wasn't ready to think about it at the time. So on New Year's Eve, 2018 into 2019, I started creating the Published Reporter. And
now, how did you come up with that name?
Yeah, it's funny. People have asked me that before, and because it's a good name. It's a good name.
I think it's a better name than longislandexchange.com.
Well, first of all, it is because it's got further reach. I mean, I can cover much more. Even though we focus mostly on the Florida state of Florida, we cover national news stories, even global news stories, because I'm not limited to a geographic region. So like I was with Long Island Exchange, I mean, the expectation is going to be about Long Island. So maybe you stretch it with New York City and the Hamptons and all that stuff, which we did. The way I came up with the name for Published Reporter is kind of funny, is that I knew I was going to need contributing authors. I knew I would need people, hopefully, that would contribute to the publication, at least in the beginning, for free. They would want to get their story out there. So the Published Reporter had to look great and had to be valid of their interest. I mean, no one wants to submit a story that no one's going to read. So, I mean, I had a marketing background. Everybody knew I was going to be able to get their story out there. So I just thought that it would be cool if the premise of you too could be a published reporter, you know what I'm saying? And that was where I got the idea, because everybody wants to be published, you know what I mean? And you got to be a reporter or something like that. So I just came up with the name, Published Reporter. You too could be a published reporter. And it stuck. Everybody liked it.
Is this like your favorite, out of everything you've done so far, the longislandexchange.com, the longisland.com, and this one, now the Published Report, is that like is this like your favorite thing you've done so far?
Well, this is definitely my passion, is the news businesses, whatever they're called. It almost doesn't matter. You know, I do other things. I do the websites, I do the marketing, I do, you know, consulting. I help people set up their websites and grow their businesses and things like that.
But the passion is the writing of the news. You like the news the most.
My passion is the ability to be able to influence others and have people sharing information and, you know, creating activity in the world, making a difference. I mean, you know, yeah, you make a website for somebody, you make a difference for them because you help them, but it's just not exciting. It's not, like you would say, glamorous. You know what I mean? It's not fun.
Glamorous.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I came up with a nice flashy logo and name and created a great site, and it's been working.
What is your greatest strength in your role as an online publisher?
My greatest strength. As far as what though? Like affecting who? Myself? Or the audience?
Yeah, yeah. What do you think gives you the greatest strength of being an online publisher?
Well, my knowledge, the ability that I can do a lot of the things myself that would cost people great deals of money to get done. And usually you'd have to have a pretty large team even to run the website from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, well, that leads me to my next question. Tell us about the challenges of having an online publication. What are the challenges?
Well, the challenges is if you want it to work well, load fast, look good, you're going to have money to put all that together because you have to pay people to make it that way. And you know that it doesn't always happen the first time. So you're constantly paying people to continue improving, fixing, making it work better, adding new features. I mean, these are expenses that usually people just can't afford. I mean, you won't even get started doing this stuff. So, I mean, you got to be able to pay for even security. I mean, someone wants to come around and hack the website, break it, it's just all kinds of problems.
Or even somebody trying to sue you too. You got to look into legal things too.
Yeah, you got to have access to an attorney. You have to be able to, pay. I mean, I told you one time I got sued for a lot of money, for thousands, over $10,000 for, using an image that. I was trying to credit it to the reporter as best as possible, labeling it Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff that you see news companies do. And, we still got sued and had to go through a big legal process and spend all kinds of money and everything. It's terrible. It's hard. It's not easy. Something like that will usually put somebody out of business.
Absolutely.
I was lucky. I had income coming in that I was able to pay for all that stuff.
What's the first thing you do in the morning when you start your day?
Oh, the first thing I do is I get up and I make a cup of coffee and I come to my computer. And it's actually exciting because I'm excited to see what is going to be there, what is in my inbox when I get started. So that's the first thing I do is make my coffee and get to the computer. What advice would you give a young person today about starting an online publication? Well, if they're going to do it, and I've said this about a lot of other businesses, make sure they're passionate about the topic because they're going to have to put in a lot of time and energy. So one of the things that makes it easy for me to put in the necessary time, because I typically work, I mean, I've been doing this 20 years, I still typically put in a 12-hour day. You know what I mean? And the only reason I'm able to do that is because I'm not itching to leave. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to go out and do other things. I'm actually having fun doing what I'm doing. So half the day I'm working on my client responsibilities and half the day I'm working on my stuff, which is the fun stuff. And, I think that you have to be very passionate about what you're doing so that you're interested in it. So you're not looking at the clock all day, because if you're looking at the clock all day, you're never going to produce your best work. Your mind is always going to be somewhere else. And you're not going to come out with a good product. When you put a story up, a lot of your stuff is very political. Mm-hmm. I mean, I read it, and I really love it, I have to tell you. But you must check all these stories out. Do you check everything that you publish? Yeah, I have to do the best I can and fact check every single thing. So I'm constantly, matter of fact, I don't let anybody publish their own story. So all their stories, I got to go through the office and I look at every single thing. Yeah, so because sometimes it could be fake news and you don't want that. Yeah, we don't want that because we're already fighting all kinds of problems. They're calling us fake about everything. Every time we publish a story that doesn't follow the mainstream narrative, everybody's like, oh, that's fake news, it's nonsense and everything, but no one takes the time to fact check it. Most of the time, everything's accurate. The only time we don't fact check things, the only time we really don't fact check things is when it's an op-ed. So it's really an opinion piece. So, you really don't fact check an opinion piece, even though I go over those and I try to make sure that their opinion doesn't contain anything that's off the charts ridiculous. But, I can't put the same level of fact checking into an opinion piece. So, but we do go over everything. And a lot of times we include the documents in the story. If the story is that so-and-so said something, which a lot of times it's easier for us to report that someone said something than it is, if a big name, like, somebody, you know, if DeSantis comes out and he says something, we're going to say, you know, this is what DeSantis says. We're going to put the video in the story so that you can
That's
watch
what
it.
I like. See,
And
that's what I like.
We have to do it, you know, because everybody thinks everything is fake now. So you have to have proof. And
That they actually said what they said. That they actually said it.
A lot of times we prefer to report that someone said something than whether what they said was fact. Because then we got to fact check what they said. If we report it and this person is you know, reasonably respectable in consumer eyes and stuff, this is an authoritative person, then we can just say, hey, so and so says. You know what I mean? And that's the story just there. Almost it doesn't even matter if it's true. I mean, because what we're reporting is true. We're saying this like, you know, Rose McGowan, she's always out there. Everybody, you know, she's not really well known in Hollywood anymore because she opens her mouth about a lot of stuff. And usually when you open your mouth in Hollywood, next thing you know, you're a lunatic. They make it look like you're crazy. You can't listen to this person because now they have a problem. This person that a lot of people like has a huge megaphone, and she's talking about stuff that we don't like what she's talking about because it'll make us look bad. So let's just make her look like a lunatic. And that's what they've done to her. I'm sure that she may be a little crazy here and there sometimes. Everybody is. But to make her look like she's totally batshit crazy and nothing out of her mouth makes sense is probably a stretch. So she's always out there saying things, and people are reporting what she's saying.
But you're reporting what she's saying, and you have the fact check, and you have the proof that she said it in the video, and you show it.
Yes.
So you're only reporting what she's saying.
Exactly. Like sometimes we'll have doctors and stuff like that, and we'll have to disclaim the article. You know, this report contains expert opinion, or it contains opinion by experts in their field. You know, make your own decision whether or not you want to act on this information, but this is what they're saying. And we still have a problem reporting that stuff, especially if it's about a controversial topic, you know, in today's market. You know, people still want to say, hey, that's not true. It's fake. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? We're really just reporting that this is the person that's saying this. You make a decision.
Exactly. You have to use your common sense, and you have to just do what you think is best. I love it. Yeah. John, we're out of time.
We're losing the right to know. You know?
Yes, we have the right to know. We're out of time, but I want you to tell my audience where we could go to learn more information about you as a published, an online publisher, and the Published Reporter. What is the website?
Well, publishedreporter.com. If you want real news, you go just sign up for the newsletter. It's free. And I mean, if you want to learn about me, you could go to my website, johncolascione.com. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to learn about me. It's my site.
Fabulous. Don't go away because I'm going to shut it down. But first, I'm going to say goodbye to you and blow you a big pink champagne kiss.
Very nice. Very nice.
And I'm going to tell my audience, keep watching more of Cognac's Corner coming up, darlings. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pink Champagne Kisses. Welcome back, darlings. I hope you enjoyed my interview with Mr. John Colascione, the publisher of the Published Reporter. We will be back with more Zoom interviews and more fashion from New York Fashion Week will be coming up. And also I will be doing a lot more hauls, a lot more shopping hauls. And I love you all. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And always ring the notification bell to let you know when I publish a new article. My channel is all about Zoom celebrity interviews, fashion and entertainment, and wonderful shopping hauls with Victoria's Secret, Fashion Nova, Shein, and my very favorite, Amazon. Keep watching, darlings. I love you all, and don't forget to subscribe. And pink champagne kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac show. And no matter how much I into cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.